How you doing, folks? Can you hear me okay? Sound. Oh, blimey. That just went from like 5 people to 72 in the space of about 2 seconds. 85. Marty, the legislation's being drawn up. It's basically giving us a heads up of what the legislation is going to be added to the coronavirus bill. So we've basically got until the legislation is written out properly and popped in front of all them fuck knuckles to agree to. And we already know they're going to agree to it because they've already said, we've had all the MPs going, oh yes, we agree. Yes, these are the actions that we must be taking. We have a semi-lockdown. I had a semi after he told us there was a lockdown. Oh well, I mean, look, you can probably tell by the way I'm talking and by the look on my face, I am pissed off, to be fair. I said this in a video earlier. I've said this over the last few days. There is going to be a lockdown, and here it is. One thing I've got to say though is I'm a bit pissed off with some people leaving comments, certain types of comments, which I'll go through. So I'm going to read some comments to you in a minute. I don't agree. Let me make this clear. I do not agree with having our rights taken away. Any of them. I don't agree with it. One of the main reasons for starting this channel is because I had my rights infringed out in the street and I ended up getting arrested. That's one of the reasons why I started this channel. So I do not agree that our rights should be taken away. That's the first thing. And this is why I've said to people that we need to choose. We need to make a choice. Okay, we either say, okay, we can hold off a little bit on going out and partying and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Or we can wait until our rights are taken away from us. And too many people decided to be selfish cunts and ignore what was at the time just advice. And that's what it was. It was just advice at the time. I'm happy to take advice from people. Sometimes I'll listen, sometimes I won't. Same as you guys. We've all got our own minds. There's nothing wrong with advice. After all, free speech is about giving and receiving advice, isn't it? But when people are doing things like I've reported in tonight's PAP reports, okay, when I reported about people going and slashing ambulance tyres, people are spitting, not just at members of the public, but at the police as well. And as much as I dislike the police, and I've said this before, as much as I dislike the police as an institution, nobody should go around spitting in people's faces. And it's shit like that that has now had my fucking rights taken away from me and yours taken away from you. I've said before in previous videos as well that once these kind of things come into play, it's going to be very difficult to get them repealed. The legislation, this isn't a fucking a piece of legislation that's going to disappear. This is a piece of legislation that's going to fucking stay in play for quite a while, right? And this is, and I don't even know where to fucking begin, to be honest. This has really pissed me off. With regards to the public health coronavirus act that they brought out in February, that can be in play for 2 years, right? Although in that bill, it says that they can relax some of the points within that legislation as and when they feel they need to. The problem is, why the fuck would they? Why would they? Once they get that control over us, why would they want to give it back? Why would they want to give up that control over us? And because of people being selfish and stupid, they've now got that control. I'm gutted. Of course they won't give it up, Holly. Absolutely not. Absolutely. Whoever the 2 people that have given me a thumbs down, fuck you. Fuck you. Go and find somebody with a virus and go and fucking crawl in the corner, you little cunt. I'm sorry about that, people. I apologise for that outburst. Oh, and a 3rd one. Go on, officer. Fuck off. Oh, we've got 5 now. Okay. Go on. Off you go. If you don't like what I've got to say, you ain't got to stay here and listen to it ever. Well, go back to your fucking police station and go and suck each other off, you dirty cunts. I shouldn't have come on here. I'm wound up. I'm telling you, I am. Have you guessed? Can you tell I'm wound up? Unbelievable. Really is. I've got to be honest with you, I am proper steaming about this, right? I am really pissed off. I'm going to go in a minute. I'm going to go through some comments that people have left, and I can understand some of the comments, right? Most of them are great. Most of the comments are absolutely brilliant. There's some people that are leaving comments who think in a certain way, and I've been trying to explain that it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. To say you're exempt from acts, statutes, and all the rest of it, it does not work that way, unfortunately. I wish it did, and I understand why you look at it that way. But you cannot use something like that against the government. It's never going to happen. We have to use what they use against us, against them. Hi, Noli. You know, I try and give information, and a bit like Crime Bodge, right? And I know some people, you know, like Crime Bodge and some people don't like Crime Bodge, and that's absolutely fine. I don't, you know, whatever your preference is, I don't care. There's nothing to do with me in that respect. All I'm saying is Crime Bodge is the same. Crime Bodge is like, you know, you have to use what they use against us, against them. Okay? And that's the same as me. I feel exactly the same way. You can't go around saying I'm exempt from acts and statutes, because it just doesn't work. And I'm sorry it doesn't work, but it doesn't. And we can't use it against people, against the government in particular. And that's a problem that we've got, because there's people that just think that they can go and do what they want because they're not going to be held accountable. But do you know what? We're all being fucking held accountable now because of people that just did not give a shit. I'm sorry if I'm not reading all your comments, guys. I'm having a little blowout, you know, a little blow off steam, so I am sorry. Martial law's not here yet, but these are the steps to it. Do you know, I watched what's his name earlier? Do you know what? I had his name in the head just before I came on the live, and now I can't bloody remember it. Oh no, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. I can't remember his name. No, it's gone. It will come to me. It will come to me in a bit. David Icke. That's it. That's it. I was on YouTube earlier, and a video popped up. Real London or something it was called. This like video podcast thing. And I watched it, and it was David Icke talking about the coronavirus. And I sat there, and most of that stuff I do not get drawn into most of that stuff, but I was interested, genuinely interested. And there was some of the things that he was saying, which in particular, the steps, you don't take a massive jump to get to where you want to go because people notice. Okay, if you're trying to sneak up on somebody, right, you don't take a meter step each time. If you're 3 meters behind somebody, you don't take a 1 meter step each time to sneak up on them, because they'll notice. You shuffle your feet and you move a little bit closer at a time, a little bit closer at a time, a little bit closer at a time. And that's what's happening. There are small steps that are being taken. I'm not getting into the thing about David Icke. All I'm saying is he said something which struck a chord with me. Not say I don't listen to all of that conspiracy stuff, right? Ain't my bag. I don't deal with that stuff. What I'm saying is that when you want to sneak up on somebody, yeah, you don't take massive strides to get there because they're going to notice you're doing it. You take small steps, yeah, and you shuffle up behind them so they don't notice that you're getting closer and closer. It's exactly what's going on here, right? Rather than implementing a full lockdown with a fucking martial law and all that stuff, they're taking small steps, and these steps that they're taking are part of martial law, but it's just not full-on martial law yet. So people don't realise it's coming. Other people do. I see it in the comments here. I know it's coming, or it potentially could be here. And these steps that are being taken are steps that are in or under martial law legislation. Jason McMahon. To be honest, I see occasional things to do with David Icke. I don't go searching his stuff out or anything like that, because to be fair, it fucks my brain up and have a hard time. I don't want to get drawn into conspiracy stuff. As I say, it was literally one part of what he said in that video that just stuck with me. And that is how, if you want to lay something down on somebody, you take small steps rather than big steps. Yeah, and that's exactly what's being done here. If you have a look at the legislation for martial law, which is the Civil Protection Act, I believe it is, it will explain to you in there all of the stuff that's being done is in the Civil Protection Act. It's just that they haven't rolled out the Civil Protection Act in one hit because people will go fucking mental. I've got other things to think about other than, trying to think about all conspiracy theories. There's too many out there. and I'd rather concentrate on the things that I can deal with. Do you know what I mean? And that, do you know what I mean? And that's where I keep my attention, on the stuff that I can deal with, on the stuff that I want to deal with. And I don't want to deal with, you know, flat earth and 5G and all that stuff. And I know some people are saying the 5G is, you know, to do with the coronavirus and all the rest of it. But again, to me, for me, I've not seen any smack hard proof about a lot of stuff. Okay. And if I can't see any proof about it, I can't go down that route. Yeah. If I see proof, undeniable proof for certain things, then fine. Do you know what I mean? But for me, the law, acts and legislations and all of that kind of stuff is written down black and white. Okay. And that's the weapon that we have to fight back against people that use them against us, right? And that's all I'm saying there. They're talking about you're only allowed to be at 2 people at a time. 2 people at a time. And you're going to get fined. You're going to get asked to disperse. And if you don't, then you're going to get fined. The people that have spent the last week or 2 just ignoring advice and thinking, fuck it, who cares? You're the people that have now stitched everyone else up. The people that are saying things like, oh, acts and statutes don't apply to me. Well, let's see how that goes. Take your video camera out with you, go out with all your mates, okay? And let's see how that goes. Because I guarantee you now, because of that selfishness, the police are going to abuse these new legislations and they're going to fucking love it. End of. They are going to love it. They don't need, right? They don't need, what do you think they need now? Do you think they need reasonable excuse to disperse you now? Do you think they need any of that shit? Of course they don't. They're now using this global pandemic, okay, to fuck you over. When we could have just said, you know what? I mean, look at it this way. If one of your family members was ill and you didn't want to catch it, what would you do? Would you stay away from them for a week or 2? You fucking would. Of course you would. You'd choose to do that. You would choose to stay away from them. And if you went and you caught it, then it's your own fault, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But you'd choose to stay away from them. But we haven't got that choice anymore. That choice has now been taken away from us. And if you ask me, I find it, personally, I think it's very difficult, or it's going to be very difficult for us to get our rights back, all of them as they were before this. No, the little teddy is sitting on his head. Because how are the police going to conduct a shift meeting? Because they are immune to the laws. Remember that. Do you know what I mean? You see, the worst thing about it is it's not a law that says we can gather, that we can congregate and we can gather. That's not a law. That's a human right. It is a human right that we are having restricted. And it's sickening. It's fucking shocking. Exactly. Sad but mad. Yeah, of course. One rule for them. Yeah, Patriot views, that's what I'm saying. I've been talking to my brother today. My brother lives in Spain, and he's been laughing his head off. He's been saying to me, what is it with you lot over there? I mean, he's from here. And he's saying, what is it with you lot over there? Don't you realise what is coming? I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I know people are getting ill. And he's like, no. He goes, I've got a fucking army on the street over here. People have got to ID themselves. So how we all turn around and we say, what is this, fucking Nazi Germany? Yeah? When we get asked by the police to ID ourselves, we go, what is it, Nazi Germany? I'm not IDing myself. I don't have to ID myself. Well, guess what? Now you fucking do. That 3 weeks is only to review it. They didn't say it's going to last 3 weeks. That will be a review. And think of it this way. If it's going well and people are doing as they're told, why are they going to take it away? Why are they going to say, okay, 3 weeks is up. You've all done really well. Let's abolish that act now. Of course they're not. They're going to go, it's working really well. We'll keep it in play. And this is the problem. This is the problem. Once our rights are taken away from us, even by, especially by legislation, why are they going to take that away from us or from themselves? Why are they going to remove that when they can use it to control us? And if they do, things won't be the same as they were before. There's people in comments on the PAT report saying, oh, there's not enough police. What are they going to do? Get the army in. There's not enough army. Do you know what happens when there's not enough people to keep other people in check? Do you know what happens? Sad but mad, lads. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If they haven't got enough police and enough armed forces to control a population of people, then they stop asking. They stop asking you to do things, and they start becoming very angry and very hands-on. If people, honestly, when I say we, I mean the population, okay? We, as a population, have allowed this to happen. Not individually, I'm not saying individually, but as a population, we've allowed this to happen. We are giving the government a reason to implement these acts and statutes and legislations and everything else. If we'd have just fucking said, you know what, let's stay in for 2 weeks. By choice, if everybody had just said to themselves, let's just stay in for 2 weeks, then they wouldn't have a reason to implement the legislation. Do you see what I mean? It's like, and I'm sorry to the ladies that are watching this, forgive me, okay, but this is the only way I can explain this, right? Blokes out there watching, do you know how sometimes you just agree with your missus for a quiet life? So sometimes when your missus is in your ear roll, nag, 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 and eventually you just go, yes, darling, yeah, all right, sweetheart, yeah, I'll do exactly that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? And you just agree for a quiet life. That is what we should have been doing. How are they going to enforce the fines? By abusing the new legislation, of course. Why can people not see this? We have just allowed the police to literally do what the fuck they want, and we can't do shit about it. It is the dog snoring, yeah. Yeah, but that's the problem, Swoop. It needs all of us. And that ain't never going to happen. That ain't never going to happen. We've been slowly fucking broken down into smaller and smaller groups of people. And I've said this in other live videos. Smaller and smaller groups of people, okay, that are constantly fighting against each other so that the government can do shit like this, okay, and know that we won't all come together. Because we haven't all got the same goal anymore. There are people whose goal is to just attack other people now. Nothing to do with the government. I need another cigarette. I'm fucking fuming. Yeah, Stuart, do you know what you're saying there about the internet? I've said this as well, okay? All it takes is for your internet service provider to throw a switch and you've got no internet. That's it. That's all it takes, okay? Right. With that in mind, we already know the government have been to O2 to get tracking data for people's phones to make sure and to see whether or not people are adhering to the social distancing. No, it's not, Holly. It's not classed as non-essential. It's already been said that kind of thing will go ahead. I'll speak to you after the live stream. How much backy have I got? I ain't got a lot, to be honest. I'm gonna have to go up the shopping a bit. Right, the fact is, right, as I say, the internet only takes a switch at your internet service provider to shut it down. YouTube have already put out a notice in your dashboard, some of you would have seen it, that videos will only be getting checked by the AI now and not by humans, which means that videos are going to be taken down even if they don't break the rules. Copyright strikes are going to stay intact even if it's a false copyright claim, which means people's channels are going to get taken down a lot easier than before. Leave your mobile phones at home if you go out, or go and buy yourself an analog mobile phone for when you're out. Do you know what I mean? You go and get yourself a £20 shitty analog phone for when you go out. So when I say analog phone, I mean not a smartphone. Shitty old fucking that only lets you text or phone. Even then, they can track you through cell towers, but the range of where you are is much bigger because it's only done through cell towers, right? If you've got Wi-Fi on your phone, GPS, then they can track you to a narrow area. If you get an old phone that ain't got GPS on it or anything like that, then it will only use the phone masts, the cell towers, and that will the range that picks you up on, it can only pick you up in a much bigger area than if you're using GPS and Wi-Fi. Does that mean you can't get your car back from the garage? If the garage isn't open, then you're not going to be able to get your car back. However, I would imagine that you may need your car for essential travel. If you need to go shopping, for example, it's essential, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you've got a big family and you need a car, then it's essential, isn't it? Tracking of an old phone hasn't got the accuracy as tracking off of a smartphone. Smartphone can tell whether you're in between two houses by the strength of the signal coming from Wi-Fi's. Even though you're not connected to their Wi-Fi's, those Wi-Fi's are relaying off of your mobile phone, and your mobile phone's talking to those Wi-Fi's because it's reaching out and searching. So to have an old phone without Wi-Fi on it or GPS on it, it's going to be much harder for your phone to be located. Not yet, mighty lads. I don't drink, but I need a fucking brandy. Yeah, but drones are generally GPS based, aren't they? Well, the more expensive ones are anyway. Dog walks. Well, you can go out. I mean, this is the problem, right? They've said you can go out once a day for exercise. That means walking the dogs, I suppose, right? Now, the problem is there is no way to know whether you've been out once or twice or three times. In some places in France, people have to download paperwork off the internet and fill it in and take it with them when they go out. So if they're stopped by the police, they can show the police this paperwork. Yeah? If people don't start using their brains a little bit now, we're going to be in that same situation. We are going to be in fucking Nazi Germany. And I've said that twice now, so this fucking video is definitely demonetized now. Because it doesn't matter. Turning off your Wi-Fi doesn't matter on a smartphone. Exactly, Anthony M. Exactly. Papers, please. Yeah, but that's what bike cam, man. That's what I'm saying. The rules have been done so they can be abused. We haven't got an argument now. If the police want to use one of these new fucking pieces of legislation against us, we haven't got an argument. I'm going to the shop. Prove it. Well, how can I prove it? You can't prove it. You're coming with me. Okay? Simple as that, isn't it? Really? I'm going to work. Well, where do you work? Can you prove that you're going to work? How can you do any of these things? You can't. Therefore, the police can abuse these new powers. Neil, 1980. It's a bit more complicated than that. I'm not a technical expert in any sense of the words, but you can look it up online. There's videos on YouTube about it. How your smartphone is literally calling out all the time. It's calling out all the time. But because your phone has like an IP address, you see, okay, because your phone's got like an IP address or a MAC address or whatever, it's constantly searching for a network, whether that's a Wi-Fi network, a GPS network, a WAP network, all of that kind of stuff. Your smartphone is constantly calling out for them. You're right, Brian Withers. You're absolutely right. But this is this is why I'm pissed off, because the acts of some have now affected the many. I wasn't even going to come on here tonight as on a live. I just wanted to chill tonight, but after hearing what's going on, I needed a rant. Yeah, sorry, Neil. I meant not just the Wi-Fi, but your phone reaches. I said Wi-Fi because that's the first thing that came into my head. But your phone's reaching out constantly for different connections. Um, yeah, AB, are you saying it is to stock the supermarket shelves? Is that what you mean? Because if that's the case, then the supermarkets could just shut their doors for a day, couldn't they? I don't know why they haven't done that. I don't know why the shops haven't just gone, do you know what? Shut the doors. Do you know what I mean? It certainly makes sense. For example, if for example, if I had a shop and this was happening and people were coming in and wiping my shop out, once the levels of everything dropped, I would shut the doors and I'd restock, and then I'd reopen again later, right? And then people were going to come along to the shop and realise that we're not open all the time. We can't stay open all the time because it ain't fair on anybody. So I'd shut the doors of the shop for a while. Why has the Chinese government been held responsible? I think that's because of POTUS saying that he kept saying, didn't he, when he was getting called racist, and he goes, "It's not racist. I call it the Chinese virus or the China virus because it come from China." And I think that's why people are saying it. But where it come from initially? Who knows? Who knows? Well, you say shutting the doors equals more panic buying later. I don't think it would. I think if you shut the doors, the people would think, well, maybe it's not that serious. If they're closing the doors, maybe it's not as serious as we thought. Otherwise, the doors would be open and we'd be allowed in to shop. Do you know what I mean? I think if everybody shut the doors of the, out at intervals, people would start thinking, well, maybe it's not as bad because if the shops are closing, then maybe it's not too bad. I mean, I know, right? I've looked into some of this, and I know that more people have died from the normal flu. Okay, I know that. I'm not a scientist. I can't talk about this flu in that respect because I don't know anything about it in that sense. But if we're being told by doctors that this flu is different and it's more contagious. Okay. And younger people are getting this flu as well and causing them to have pneumonia, causing their lungs to fill up with fluid. That's a serious issue. I don't know if any homeless have died from corona. Bojo locked us down, NNS, because people aren't using their brains, basically, in my opinion. I've said this a few times over the last few days. People need to use their heads and you know, make a choice. Make a choice. Either use your brain and say, okay, I'm not going to go out as much, or okay, I'm not going to do this, you know, for a couple of weeks, or have it imposed on us. And because people weren't paying any attention and were being selfish and panic buying and all the rest of it, it's come to this where we've now had to have this imposed on us, and it's shocking. This has never happened, has it? In the history that I know of, in the history of of this country, this has never happened. Even during the war, you know, this kind of thing I don't think has happened. Never to be told you're only allowed 2 people in a group. Even during the war, you could be as many as you want. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly right, Sad but Mad. Small group of people have ruined it for the majority. I said, when was it, yesterday or day before? I said it. If somebody gave you 100 sweets, right, and said that 3% of those sweets are going to kill you, would you take your chances and try eating some, or would you just swerve the whole bag? Shit on fire. The difference is, Neil, I see what you're saying there, but the difference is we'd have had an argument then. We'd have had an argument. If they'd have tried to impose this and we were all doing what we were told, we'd have had a good argument. Yeah, we could have all turned around and said, well, hang on a minute, how can you do that when we're doing as we were told? But because people weren't doing as they're told, we've lost the argument. Alex, I have to say, I don't see how blaming China is racist. I didn't think racist meant blaming somebody or a country. Estimated duration of this lockdown will, how long? Well, it's hard to say. They've said what they said initially. They've said they're going to recheck it after 3 weeks. But if it's working, if these new legislations and this lockdown, if it's working, why are they going to revoke it after 3 weeks? Why would they do that? They'll say, well, it's working so well, we don't want to risk it going back to normal, so we'll keep it going for another 3 weeks. And then another 3 weeks. And then eventually we all get used to it. Daryl, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I agree. And I've said this the other day as well. This COVID-19 is not what is killing people as such. It's the COVID creating the underlying health issues to cause more problems, and that's what's killing people. Yorkshire man, yeah, exactly. The I've in the Public Health Coronavirus Act 2020, February the 14th, I think that was signed. It says in there that they can enact stuff that they're enacting now for 2 years. It says in there that if they need to, they can relax on some of the legislations that are being enacted. But why would they want to? Oh, that's another. Yeah, that's a great question. Biker can man. Again, I've said this the other day. 200, well, more than £200 billion has been pulled out of Boris Johnson's arsehole. Literally, like a magician. Yeah, Bank of England, magic, abracadabra. There you go, £200 billion. And what's that going to do? What's that going to do to the value of the pound? Have you seen the forex markets? Yeah, and it's going to be very difficult to come back from that. They can't turn around in a year's time or 2 years' time and say, right, guys, that 200 billion we pumped into the economy, we need it back. They can't do that, can they? So what happens? The value of money goes down, which makes everything seem more expensive. Well, it makes everything more expensive because the value of money has dropped. So whereas 20 years ago, you could have bought 3 loaves of bread for £1. Now you need £1 and a bit to buy a loaf of bread. 2 years' time, you're going to need £2, £3 to buy a loaf of bread. Why 3-week curfew? My opinion is that it's to keep us calm. My opinion is they've said 3 weeks because it doesn't seem like such a long time. Okay. Also, you've got this 14-day period, haven't you? So if you catch it, yeah, then you've got, I think there's a 5-day supposed incubation period, and then you've got like 7 days, with the symptoms, if you like. So 3-week period should give most people an idea whether they've got it, and whether they're over it. See you later, Noli. No worries. Yeah, Metropolitan Police had three constables that have caught it or tested positive, and 50 odd police off, as I said last week before the weekend. Now, whether that is just because they want a bit of time off, because let's face it, all you've got to do is go, oh, I've got a temperature. Sorry, Chief Inspector, I've got a temperature. I need to go home. Please don't make me come into work today. You can still go dogging on your own. Be a boring night, wouldn't it? Yes, yeah, only once a day. Shops are overcharging because they think they can get away with it. I will say this, if you come across a shop that puts its prices up, yeah, the who are they? Trading standards. Let trading standards know. Okay, and trading standards will deal with it. Nobody should be profiting from this. Nobody should be profiting from us suffering. Okay, so if you come across a shop, I saw a video earlier on Facebook, somebody was filming a shop in Croydon, I think it was. They'd gone in and they had put their price of the toilet roll up to £10. £10 for 9 rolls of toilet paper. Sickening bastards. So if any of you are out shopping and you see the prices of stuff are ridiculously high, then you need to get in touch with trading standards, right, and let them do something about it, because these fuckers that are trying to rip us off, right, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Trading standards, I've reported things to trading standards, and I've got to be honest, they've dealt with things that I've contacted them over. The same as the ASA, Advertising Standards Agency. There are times when they just ignore stuff, but I don't think they can ignore this. I don't think they can ignore people trying to profit off of people dying, and that's what they're doing. The price of Viagra has gone through the roof. Has it gone straight up, has it? Yeah, yeah. I do not disbelieve that the curfew will be next. I don't. I think that the police. I think that what's going to happen is that the police are going to turn around, or the government will turn around and say, right, we're still having problems with people, so therefore we need to put a curfew in place, and that's another one of our rights removed. Carl, I don't know. To be fair about that one, they were able to. Deliveries were still able to go ahead. Post office is still allowed to operate. I mean, I had the postman come this morning, knocked on the door. I've opened the door and he goes, "I'm sorry, mate." He goes, he was wearing gloves and he was wearing a mask, and he goes, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I've got to put this on the floor for you to pick up." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I've got to put this on the floor for you to pick up." I went, "Mate, I'm not going to touch you. You're holding one side of the parcel. I'm going to take the other side of the parcel." Do you know what I mean? And he was like, "No, mate." He goes, "It's the rules. I've got to put it on the floor for you to pick up." Okay. Yeah, Labour's agreed to these restrictions. Yeah, I saw that. It is more important now than ever to record your interactions with the police. Hi, Jay. Yes, exactly. Sad but mad. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the dogs wouldn't go without, even if I had to give them my food. I've still not been to a shop. But even if I had to give them my food, they wouldn't go without. I've had to do that before. Um, I suppose it depends on what factory work you're doing. Shops like non-essential shops are shutting down. So if your factory is supplying non-essential shops, then I presume it wouldn't be classed as an essential job. Do you know what I mean? So if you obviously if your factory is wearing a if factory's wearing if your factory is making stuff for the medical trade, for example, then the chances are you need to carry on. Plastic, well, I can only give an opinion, and I would say that plastic is pretty essential in everything, really, isn't it? But again, there's probably other factors involved in that, so it's hard to say. You're going to have to try and find out. I don't know who you could ask to find out. To be fair, there should be a list, really. Um, the government should have a list of the types of job or the industries that are affected. Sorry, Chris. As I say, I can't. I'm not qualified to give to give that information. I really don't know. All I can say is my opinion. But I do think the government need to have on a website somewhere the industries that are affected. Yeah, sometimes when you go on a website and you get a drop down list and you have to pick what industry you're in. I think that's what they should do, something like that, and so that we can see what industry is um, classed as non-essential. Yeah, baby boom. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We're going to try and kill all these people off, and loads more are going to be getting created. Yeah, Holly, I could do with finding myself a neutered bird, to be honest. All that practice without having to worry. All right, Brian, no worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the memes that are going to pop up in the next few days. Should be interesting. It is one of the dogs snoring Justice 100. You see, I don't believe that, Holly. I don't believe that you can't have babies that way. That's why I always try. I think everyone will become fitness fanatics running from the police. Leave me alone. This is the first time I've come out today. Boots, as in the chemists will be open. John Dufton, if you're talking about the police not being able to enforce it because there's not enough of them, we discussed this a little while ago. What happens if the police are overwhelmed and can't deal with people reasonably? What do they do? Well, there's the chance of the army coming in, but what my point is, they get violent. They go hands on. And Sad But Mad Lad said it second time, excessive violence. It will be. It's going to get to a point where they're not going to fuck about. Oh, do you know what I mean? This, because they've been led to believe that they can, and now they fucking will. I'm going to teach you all at some point this week. I'm going to teach you all, as long as I can get the ingredients. I'm going to teach you all a bit of what do we call it? What should we call it? Bat soup. No, I'm gonna teach you how to cook a few things that that you might have to cook, and all it takes is some very basic ingredients, just in case you run out of food, and you've got some basic ingredients. I'm going to teach you how to make a couple of things that will help you get by. Worm omelette. A daisy pie. And an Alice souffle. Oh, cheese crackers. Oh. Bit of home brewed, or just get the old potatoes in the cupboard, make a bit of home brew out of that. My dad's homemade wine was rocket fuel. It was, oh mate, it blew my head off when I was a kid. I'm from Essex originally, but I live in Liverpool now. Dogs, well, you've noticed she's stopped snoring. She's sleeping with one eye open now. What made me want to move to Liverpool? Um, Live birds. I had a bit of a breakdown about 15 years ago after a relationship balls up, and I kind of I needed to start over again, so I ended up moving up here. We haven't. There's not enough people following this channel to start a revolution. We need to build the numbers up. Liverpool know how to act. Well, did you see them all out on Paddy's Day? Got told to stay at home, and yet the streets in Liverpool were rammed. Mate, they're just Chris Brown. They are just as orange up here. Trust me, they're just as orange up here. Well, it'd be nice to. It'd be nice. 100,000 subs would be great, but I'm not sure if I could handle 100,000 subs. Uncle Pap, you're already revolting. That's not very nice, Joe Black. But it's fine. It's fine. I've got thick skin. I can take it. I can take it. See some of the comments I get on here. Oh, just see you guys cheer me up. You know, I was fucking fuming when I come on here, and although I'm still pissed, you guys do help me help take my mind off of things. The thick skin might be good against the vaccine jab. Dave P, my pantry is empty at the moment. I still haven't been able to get to a shop yet. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen now, in all fairness. But I'll be all right with regards to that. I'll get something sorted out, but I'm just not sure how yet. The internet will slow down. The internet will slow down if they don't restrict the speeds everyone's got, which I think they probably will. I think they will drop the speeds without telling people on your internet connections, because everybody will be at home and be on the internet, Netflix, you know, all of that kind of stuff, all the streaming services. And if everybody has the full capacity of their internet, then they're not going to be able to keep up with it. So yeah, they're going to restrict the internet speeds. Oh my God, 454 people watching now. Where did you all come from? My God, that's the most I've ever had on here. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, I posted, you saw my cupboards yesterday, wasn't it? So yeah, it's oh man, it is unreal. But yeah, I seriously think, yeah, Holly, it's gone up now, 555. I am shocked at that. I don't know where that's come from. 580. My God, what's going on? 600. No way. Where's everybody coming from? So guys, do me a favor, if you've not hit the like button yet, please give that like button just a little tap for us, just, you know, out of the kindness of your heart. Doesn't take a lot to do, but it helps the channel and it helps the videos to get out a little bit more. You know, I don't ask for much. I'm easy to please. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, as True Reporter asked, not only, I honestly see that happening with regards to the internet, as True Reporter asked there. We all know in the evening times when you get home from school, get home from work, you'll have a little dip in your internet speeds because everybody gets online at the same time. With everybody being off for a prolonged period of time, we're gonna Gamer One UK. Is it that obvious? With everybody being off at the same time, they're gonna struggle to keep up with the speeds that they promise you. So I can pretty much guarantee that your internet speeds are gonna drop. For all you non-smokers out there, I apologise, but after Bojo's announcements earlier, I'm still stressing a little bit, so please forgive me. I know, it's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. They've all shut the tellies off. Oh, 9/11 now. Oh no, it's not the likes, Holly. It's not the likes that have got to the thousands. It's the viewers. 885 now. So yeah, I mean, do you know what? This all happens just as I was struggling to think of things to talk about. Oh dear, now it's dropping again. Come on, ask me some questions. Oh, one of my lights has failed. One of my batteries has died on my lights. Have they all come to see my hair? Is that what it is? Has everybody come to see my hair? Well, I might have to do a few more lives over the next few weeks, and we'll see how it's going on. Any cases with regards to the PAP reports? You mean, Swoop? Only what I've put in the PAP reports at the moment. Every day I'll come across new updates for previous PAP reports, and I'll add them to the day's report, and we'll take it from there. Do I know how to forage? It's not something that I've had much call for, to be honest. But one thing I do know how to do is to make something nice and tasty with very little in the cupboard. So I will, over this week, I'm gonna teach you how to survive in an apocalypse kitchen. Yeah, nice. Yeah, something nice and easy. Well, no, all I've got to do is go out. All I've got to do is step outside the front door with a dog, haven't I? And I wait for the police to come along. I let them taser one of the dogs. There you go. Saves me having to cook. that's gonna that's gonna get me some hate from some of you guys. That was a joke, by the way. I wouldn't let the dogs get tasered. Yes, I know, Holly. I know you would. If it involves chickpeas, I've got chickpeas in the cupboard. Brian, I would not do that. I would not do that to the dogs. Yeah, I'll surprise you over the next couple of days. I'm gonna, yeah, well, yeah, over the next few days. I'll teach you how to. If you ever get to a situation where you've literally can't get to the shop, but you've got some crap in a cupboard, then I will teach you to make something that will get you by. God, this is making me look really pale again. What does it look like if I turn this off? Makes me look bloody jaundice. Let's turn it back on. Looks like active patriots out and about looking for homeless people. Going to check them out, see if they're all okay. Good lad. Dog food. Do you know what? I've upset quite a few ex-girlfriends because I've eaten dog food. And I'm beginning to wonder whether that's why they're ex-girlfriends. Who knows? But you know, it's not that bad. Just need a bit of seasoning on it. Actually, you say Sunday kitchen with Dan. Do you know what I might do? I might do it at the weekend then, rather than trying to get an extra video done during the day. I might save it till the weekend um, and do something maybe on Saturday. Show you how to cook a couple of things just in case you need to. And if you don't, well, it might help somebody that you know that's struggling. So. What was that about homeless? I've just missed what happens to the homeless with less people on the street and less food places open? Where do they go? I was told, I don't know how true it is, but I was told that there were places in London. I don't know about anywhere else in the country, but there were supposed to be places in London that were opening up to allow the homeless people to go and stay there. Um, However, I wonder how that's going to work. As I said to you in a video the other day, in Sunday's live stream, if you get all of those, you know, a load of homeless people all in one place, there is a distinct possibility that somebody's going to have an infection and potentially pass it on. Disco Boy, nothing at the moment. He put in his copyright complaints. I told him to take me to court over it. He didn't. The copyright strikes have gone. So Yeah, that makes sense. Sad but mad, absolutely. You can't you can't cook. You're disabled. Can you not cook at all, Juicy? And when I say that, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I mean, can you can you use? You mean you can use the microwave? There are things you can do in a microwave um, that will get you by if you need to. Um, Juicy Gossip, can you do me a favour? Can you email me and I'll see if I can help you out a little bit. We'll talk in email. You can let me know what you do have available for you to use, and I will do my best to come up with something for you in order to help you out, just in case you get to a point where you're struggling. If I can help you, if I give you some ideas of some things that you may be able to cook that are going to be safe for you to cook, then I'll do that. But we need to speak via email so I can get an idea of the situation in private. Okay. Fridge, kettle, hob. Okay, I can work with that. Again, we'll talk by email. You can tell me the sort of things that because there's probably things that you're not able to eat. Okay, so let's talk in email if you can, and I'll get some information off of you, and I will send you some ideas of things that you can do that are going to be safe for you to cook, and that will get you out of a sticky situation if you find yourself in a situation. Okay. Yeah, I can't have that. If there's a chance that you're going to be stuck cooking things, I can't rightly just sit here and let that happen. So, as a chef, I've worked in kitchens since I was 14 years old, and I am now older than that. See you later, sad but mad. Take it easy. Thanks for jumping on. Can I do a video about it? Well, I'm going to do some videos. To be honest, completely off topic videos. I'm going to try and do them for Saturday. I'm going to show you how to cook a couple of things on Saturday that will help you get through a shitty situation, shall we say, if you can't get to the shops, if you've got some bits in the cupboard, and I will do that for Saturday. But I have to get to the shop first to get some ingredients because I am out of pretty much everything. But it's not going to be stuff really that most people will have the kind of stuff in their cupboards anyway. Post-apocalyptic cooking with Pap. Do you know what? I'm going to copy that because that's what I'm going to call the video. Oh, I need a text document. Where are we? That was brilliant. I know none of you, signed up to this channel to see cooking, but in these times, I want to try and help people with their rights and things like that. And in these times, I want to just try and help people if I can help them in another way. So if I can help people by making sure that they've got something to eat, then I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? We've all got to adapt in this situation, haven't we? Yeah, she was having a bit of a scratch there, getting a little spot she's got on the side of her head. Once she starts, she won't stop. Yeah, no, CAD artist. It's more a case, as I've said, it's a case of getting to the shop at a time when it's not rammed, and that's very difficult. I mean, if I know some of the shops are opening for more vulnerable people at different times, and that's great. I can manage that because the people that are there are probably in a similar situation to I am. So I don't have to worry about people pushing me out of the way and do you know what I mean, and getting in my face and all that stuff, because I'll end up having an anxiety attack and then maybe punching somebody, and I don't want to do that. Any recipes for roast pig? Well, it depends how many volts the taser's got and how long you keep the trigger pressed down for. Snap phase, how you doing? I'm just trying to catch up on some of your messages, folks, so I'm not just being ignorant, promise you. Don't eat roast pig, you eat them raw. Oh, Chris, the financial situation is going to take a long time to come back from, if it can come back, if we can come back from it, that is. I mean, the FTSE is down, was down 43% earlier, right? The pound against the dollar has bottomed out. The problem is the American government have, I think it was about $1 trillion or something like that they've decided to flood into the market to help the economy. Ours has done 300 or close to 300 billion. And as I said earlier, where's it all coming from? It's got no value to it. We attach value to it, but it's actually got no value to it. And this is the problem. And with 300 billion thrown back into the economy, the value of a pound is literally going to bottom out. We're going to end up with, you know, a £50 note. It's going to need to be a £200 note. Do you know what I mean? To cover the same as a £50 note used to. Somebody was talking to me about that. True Reporter was mentioning about that earlier. Again, for me, there's not enough information for me, and maybe there's more information out there, but for me, I haven't had the time to look into that kind of thing as deeply as some people have, because I have to deal with all the police stuff that I do on a daily basis. But there's always a possibility. But again, there's lots and lots of theories going around, and unfortunately, us being the pawns in this world, we don't get to know what's going on until after it's gone on, unfortunately, and that's why we're the ones that suffer. Hiya, Nevitz. Yeah, we was up to 911 earlier. Not for long. It's soon dropped down again, but oh, actually, I should have said this when there was 911 people on here. It's 378 people. Please be careful at the moment with all the scams that are going on. If you've got any elderly relatives, please tell them to be careful of scams at the moment. Okay, there are some sick people out there that are taking advantage at the moment. There is HMRC text and email that's going around. Yeah, thank you, Holly. Beat you to it though. There is people knocking on the elderly people's doors, being very nice, very polite, very lovely. Would you like me to go and get you some shopping? Taking money and disappearing. If you've got any elderly relatives, please tell them not to trust anybody. If they need shopping and you are able to do that for them, then do it for them. You don't have, you can drop it off at the door if you need to, or you can go in and drop it in the kitchen. Do you know what I mean? If you want to follow the rules and you don't want to be 2 meters close to somebody, ask them to go and open the door and then go and sit in the front room while you take the shopping into the kitchen for them. But you've got to be doing stuff like this for the elderly people and your relatives. No, Phil, what old Bojo was saying, right, is to stay away from people. Okay, it's about being close enough for for contact to occur, for virus to be spread. Yeah, so if you know somebody who needs shopping, go and get their shopping for them if you're in a position to. Don't let somebody random come knocking on the door trying to be nice to them, take their money from them, because they'll do it. Okay, they will do it. There are some scumbags out there, right? So if you've got elderly relatives that need shopping, you can go shopping for them. Okay, you can take it to their house. Just ask them to open the door and then go sit in another room. Yeah, and then go and take their shopping in for them. You don't have to be right on top of them. You can still help these people out. What am I missing? Well, fair play, D. And that must be difficult work for you guys, delivery drivers. CAD artist, paper money's already valueless. It's only it's the value that we put on it that makes it valuable. Money is not backed by gold or silver anymore, so it's valueless. It has no value to it. If you think about it, remember, I think it was it must have been First or Second World War, can't remember which one, and all the governments asked everybody to hand their gold over, yeah, in order to pay for the war efforts. It was a great way of making everybody skint, that was. Yeah, well, they as I say, they took all of the gold, didn't they, from the people, and made everybody. Ultimately, they made everybody penniless by taking all of the gold during the war efforts and issued bits of paper. You try taking one of them pieces of paper into a bank and saying, "Can I exchange that for gold?" They'll laugh you out. They'll go, "What are you talking about?" Because even the bank workers now don't even understand it. Exactly, snap pays, exactly, and that's because of the amount of money that's been made out of nothing. They've just created money from nowhere that's not backed by anything, which means that it's absolutely worthless. Anything that has a limited supply, Chris, anything that has a limited supply has a value. Okay. Gold has a limited supply. I think, if I remember rightly, it was something. It was a documentary I watched. I'm trying to think properly, but it was something like all of the gold in the world would fit in something like 6 Olympic swimming pools, or something like that, and that's it. Just 6 Olympic swimming pools, swimming pools full of gold, and that's all the gold that there is in the world. Okay, so there is a limited amount of it, which is why it has its value. Cash, they make more of it. Every time they make more of it, the value drops. They make more, the value drops some more. Do you know what I mean? So a £10 or a $10 will still say $10 or £10 on it. It will still say £10 or $10 on it, but the value of that will have dropped. Which, as I said earlier, if you're 20 years ago buying a loaf of bread, you could have bought 3 loaves of bread for £1, and now you need extra change to buy a loaf of bread on top of that £1. And it's not because of the price of stuff has gone up, it's the value of the money that's gone down. Patriot Views, just refresh the page if it seems stuck. Mine's still going. Just hit your refresh button. Guys, just bear with me for 1 sec. I just want to go and stick the kettle on. We're back. Intermission. It might be in a minute while I go and pour the coffee out. Patriot Views, you're making me hungry. Oh, I did manage to get some bread today, by the way, folks. So tonight I'm going to have a bacon sandwich for dinner. Or 2 bacon sandwiches. Garth W. I presume you're talking about letters and parcels. It's classed as essential. So I would imagine that they would still be delivering. My postie was round this morning with a parcel. Wouldn't hand it to me though. Says to me, I've got to put it on the floor for you to pick up off the floor. I was like, look, you hold it that end and I'll take it from you this end of the parcel, then we ain't touching each other. No, got to put it on the floor. So what's not as bad as we think? You're talking about the coronavirus, is that what you mean? Yeah, the coronavirus might not be as bad as we think, but the actions that are being taken because of it are, and that's what I'm pissed about, to be honest, with regards to what's been done tonight. It is clearly, from what we can tell, from what medical professionals are saying, it is clearly something that hasn't got a cure, if you like, a vaccine to it, which does make it more dangerous than other viruses. I'm not suggesting for a minute that it's worse than other viruses, because I don't know that. All I can say is that if look at it this way, right? You've got cancers, right? Look at it this way. It's a bit of an extreme one, but you've got different types of cancers. Some cancers have got not cures as such, but they've got treatment, haven't they? And some cancers haven't. But you wouldn't say, oh, that's all right. It's not, it's not as bad as you think it is, because you get cancer without a cure. Do you know what I mean? A flu is a flu, and it's going to affect the same kinds of people generally, in my opinion. But if you have a vaccine for it, then, or if you've got an immunity to it, then you're going to be better better armed to fight it. The problem is, as I say, it's not about, for me, it's not about the virus as such. It's about the action, the reaction of people, okay, to what's going on. So I'm trying to get my head around that, lab rat. There is no virus, only 5G, or it's 5G being used to imitate a virus to reset the economy. I can't get my head around that, to be honest. There's an American company about a week after it all started coming out in the news that said that they had received the breakdown, if you like, the decoded genome, whatever it is, of the virus. And they said within 3 hours they had a vaccine which was ready to test on mice. And they were looking to start testing on humans in April, beginning of April. I think the international flights, I see what you're saying there, Jason Lee, but I think the international flights are to get people home. I think one of the things, and again, I'm not in the government, so I don't know what the plans are, but all I can say is that all I can say is that I would want to make sure, personally, I would want to make sure that. Do you mind? Do you want to steal the show, are you? I would want to make sure that everybody is at home. If there is even a 1% chance that people are going to die, I would want to make sure that everybody is back in their country, right? Back at home, right? That's my opinion. Again, I'm not saying that that's why the flights are still operating, because I don't know. But in my opinion, that would make sense. Enraged stoic, I think that's how you pronounce it. For me, that kind of makes sense, to be fair. If the protocols are followed, right, and people restricted their interactions, and again, I do not agree with the government forcing these, imposing these things on us. I do not agree with it. But if people chose to react and keep themselves away from everybody else, they would get the virus. Okay, they would either get ill enough to need to go to hospital, or they would get the virus run its course, and then it would die out. Okay, eventually it would stop spreading. That's going to happen. It's exactly the same as if your kids get chicken pox. You know what I mean? Your kids get chicken pox. Years ago, we used to have chicken pox parties. When I was a kid, chicken pox party. Oh, so-and-so down around the corner's got chicken pox. Quick, everybody, get your kids around there. All right? And then you'd catch it, and then you'd go and isolate yourself. You'd stay at home. All right? And then you'd stay at home, let it run its course. Job done after that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it does kind of make sense that eventually it's going to die out in wherever it is, whether it's Wuhan or Italy or whatever. But it's down to the people that are. In my opinion, it's down to us, and this is why these restrictions have been imposed upon us now by Mr. Bojo. Free Julian Assange. No, what is said is the legislation is being written up. He's said what is going to happen, and the legislation is being written up as he speaks, basically. So that will be signed off in the next few days. So ultimately, I think he's just giving us the heads up, because look, the police are going to abuse this. 100% police are going to abuse this. Like, we know that. By having the heads up and preparing ourselves for that now, I think is what the aim of tonight's announcement was. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to the apocalyptic cooking, but it'll be fun anyway. I've not done cooking on camera before, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hi, Den Carter. Yeah, I've still got Chef Whites. Powder potatoes. Yuck. Spellbinder, this is why I'm going to have to be on here more often, isn't it? So you're not all isolated. So you've all got somebody to talk with and laugh at and take the piss out of their hair. What now? What do you want? Right. Alice. Oh, ow, ow, what are you doing to me? Hello, baby. Ah. Stuart George, something that I've been, oh, careful, Daisy. Something that I have been saying is that there's a lot of elderly people and a lot of people with mental health problems that are going to suffer really badly over this and over the actions that have been taken by Bojo. It might, you know, a lot of people are going to watch this and think it's fuck all wrong with him. Okay. As you know, I don't hide it. I suffer from mental health problems, and I've told you that before. The reason why people don't see it on camera as such is because when I'm concentrating, okay, when I'm concentrating on doing what I'm doing, I can block stuff. Do you mind? Just give me a minute. Or if I'm editing, if I do a video and edit it, I cut out any moments that I have. However, there are people out there with mental health problems that are really going to suffer with regards to these restrictions. People that need people around them. People that are going to struggle getting out, going to the shops. As I've said, I struggle. I cannot go to the shops at the moment during the day because there's too many people there. If I go to the supermarket during the daytime, as it is now, as things are, I'll have a breakdown. I won't be able to do any shopping. I'll end up walking around and around and around, looking at the floor, pushing a trolley, and I will buy nothing because I'll just go into meltdown. And there's a lot of other people that are going to do the same. But there's a lot of people that haven't got an outlet like I've got this to talk to you guys. If I'm having a moment and I want to, and I need to sort my head out, I can come on here sometimes, you know what I mean, and chat to you guys because it takes my mind off of stuff. Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry, no, I thought it said you're doing your nutting. I am going to have to jump off of this because I need to let the dogs out. But I will. Oh, here we go again. I will be. Or rather, there will be a video tomorrow. Pat reports. It might be a live. It might be a recorded one. It depends how I feel. But yeah, I wanted to come on here anyway tonight because I needed that rant because of what I heard Bojo talking about, and yeah, and thanks for cheering me up, folks. Yeah, and I'm going to leave it there because I've got to take these out. But thank you again, everybody. I appreciate you all jumping on with me this evening. I can't believe it. The numbers went up to 911. That was incredible. I don't know what was going on there. But that's what happens if people start pressing that like button. If you like coming on here, I mean, there's 227 people still watching. There was 300 a few minutes ago. If all you guys just hit that like button when you come on, if you enjoy these videos, and it really, really does help the channel without you having to do anything else other than watch the video and hit the like button. Do you know what I mean? But it really helps. Guys, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evenings as much as you can. And yeah, I know we're all going to be stuck in for a while, so we'll have to try and keep you entertained through the channel. But don't forget to share the channel, tell your friends to come on over. You know, I invite everybody in. Anybody's welcome. So yeah, take care of yourselves. look after each other, film the police, especially now. Please make sure you film the police more than ever. Oh, and other officials. Good night all. Thank you.